So I'd like to talk today about props. Somehow my show evolved into major props. I've got multimedia, I've got mass, and I've got all these props that I have to handle during the course of the show. So just a few tips on props. I used to have an acting teacher who's used to say props are from hell because they create problems. If your prop isn't there, it screws everything up. Just learning how to manage the props is in itself a choreography that has to be learned. So first and foremost, I would say when you're dealing with props is introduce them early into the rehearsal process because you want it to work with those props really seamlessly. Don't wait until Tech Week to start working with your props because there'll be way too much going on at that point to then start to integrate them. It needs to be like muscle memory and figuring out the choreography of where each prop goes, how you handle it, where you put it down is important. I think the other thing about props is to remember that each prop you have a relationship to. Okay, so we have relationships to people, places, and things. So in handling your prop, be aware of what your relationship is to that prop. For example, I have the golden box, okay, that is containing, when I open it, I discover diaries, my mother's diaries, dating back to 1965. And the way that I would handle a diary of my mother's from 1965 would be very carefully, wouldn't it? So I have a relationship with this diary, and then when I'm done with it, how I treat the diary. Okay, I should complete that motion. And then I put it back because, I don't know that I really want to see what's in there. So yeah, think about each prop and what your relationship to that prop is. I have a mirror, right? And there are times I'm looking at it as my mother. She's looking at her beautiful face in the mirror. And then there are times that I'm looking at, oh, my neck. Ugh. I don't want to look at that mirror. So again, it's your relationship to your props. The other thing I would say, another tip about working with props, is figuring out, are there different ways to handle the same prop, but where they transform? So, for example, I have this scarf that I use throughout the show, and it has many uses. It's my mother as a young girl wrapping herself up in her down feather comforter. And then at other times, it's my grandmother Alice, okay? And it's also my mother, the glamorous European woman. It's my mom and my dad in their hip West Village apartment. It's Chanel perfume. It's a baby. And at the end, it's even holding my mother's hand in her deathbed. So think about a prop, one prop, and how many different ways can it transform through the course of your story. This is actually just a fraction of the props. I have costumes as well. costume changes, and I've been working really diligently at trying to make those as smooth as possible. I have another week, so hopefully I can make even more progress with it. Another thing in terms of rehearsing, you rehearse it with your props, but even when you're not in the rehearsal space, just going in your mind, closing your eyes and thinking about going through the choreography, the blocking of your show with the props. Where am I putting them down? Where am I picking them up? How am I handling them? What am I doing with them? Is really helpful as well. So I hope those tips were helpful in some way. And if you happen to be in Los Angeles on December 10th, Sunday, December 10th at 3 p.m., hope you will make it to see my show, My Mother Had Two Faces, Reflections on Beauty, Aging, and Acceptance. Thanks.